Hello soul fam, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So today's video is a very sensitive video, okay? I'm going to talk about suicide, so if this makes you uncomfortable in any way, please don't watch this video. My intention is not to lower your vibration. My intention is not to get you angry or to make you feel uncomfortable. So if this is something you don't want to watch or listen to, because some people tend to be a little bit critical about this subject, then I suggest that you don't watch this video. Maybe check out one of my other videos or check out somebody else's video. Okay, so the reason I wanted to make this video today is because this subject of suicide comes up quite often in my life. You know, people always have this conversation, which ends up turning into a debate. But a lot of people have this conversation with me, asking me what I think happens to those people who commit suicide or whose lives have been taken away from them so fast, or their lives have been taken away from them so soon because they're so young, you know, either by being in an accident or, you know, in other ways. Well, when our bodies die, we are instantly free of all human suffering and all human illnesses and everything that comes along with being in this third dimensional body. Now, once your loved ones pass away due to illness or natural causes or old age or by way of accident or by way of suicide, they are once again pure and okay. They're free from illness, sickness, disease, and pain. Now, there are different levels when you die. People say, but Gabbie, when you kill yourself, when you commit suicide, it's a sin and you instantly go to hell. That's ego talking, you guys. You instantly commit a sin and you go to hell. That's your ego speaking. Okay, we all come here to have an experience. There is good, bad. There's evil, there's kindness. Okay, we all come in to human form to have an experience. Maybe one lifetime you came in as a healer, a teacher, somebody that was pure and unconditional love. You were kindness, and then when you passed away, your soul says, okay, I experienced pure love, unconditional love. I experienced kindness and healing. Now I want to come in and experience what it's like to be evil, bad, unkind, unfair. We have to have these experiences to create balance. Now, when somebody says you're going to come, or not come, when somebody says you, when you commit suicide, you're committing a sin and you're going to go to hell, that's ego. There's no such thing as hell, you guys. If you really wanted to consider hell as a real place, it would be here, trapped in this body on earth with everything that's going on around us. To me, this is hell sometimes. Hell is being that I'm trapped here and I have to obey the rules and the laws of life, that of the government, everything that's happening. I mean, I was born here on earth and I have to pay to live here. I have to pay to drink the water. I have to pay to eat here. I have to pay to live here, and nothing, we never really ever really own anything. The government owns us. So that's your ego, you guys. Now, there are different levels when your soul passes on, crosses over, sometimes referred to as the astral planes. And one who has committed crimes or has been hurtful to humans and animals in their lifetime will be in the lower planes for a while, and then they'll have to work their way up out of that out of that lower realm. They'll be stuck in a lower frequency or vibration, and they will need to work their way up to a higher frequency or vibration. There's no punishment in spirit, you guys. There's no devil that's going to come and burn you every single day. You're not going to live in the flames of hell being burnt and tortured by demons. There is no punishment in spirit, okay? Only humans punish. Now, at death, the soul is free again, but our souls do have eternal memory. Your soul always has to live with what it has done and will always remember what it has done. Now, people who have passed from suicide sadly felt at the time that it was their only option to release their soul from feeling whatever it is that they felt, trapped, depressed, sad, angry, whatever it is that they felt. Because you truly don't know what another soul is feeling inside the human body. You may ask them, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be truthful with you. So you never really know what's going on inside the mind and heart of another human being. So it's always important to always live life being kind and showing everybody unconditional love. So don't be angry at the person that committed suicide. Don't be angry with them, for they knew nothing else at the time, nothing else that could take away that pain, take away whatever it is that they were feeling. I can assure you they are taken by their angels to where they need to be, or by their loved ones. And in time, will reincarnate just like the rest of us, just like all of us here today. We incarnated here. So, you know, they may not incarnate in this lifetime while you're still alive, or maybe they will. But just don't be angry with them, you guys. Try to understand, and don't allow your ego to be so judgmental. My cousin, he took his life at a very young age. My cousin's name was Danny, Daniel J. Pound. His name was Danny. And he took his life at a very young age. I was young, he was young. I think I was about 14 or 15. He was about 16 or 17 years old. And he came to me before the phone rang, and I already knew that he had died, that he was dead. There were no details. I just heard this voice, and it just told me Danny was no longer alive. It was weird how the information came in. The information came in so fast. It was like instant. It was just like an instant knowing. I don't know how to explain this because it's really hard to explain, actually. It was just a knowing. I just knew it. Like, I just knew he was no longer alive. He was dead. And I knew this before my father told me. And when the phone rang, all of a sudden I got this weird feeling in my stomach, and then this information, and I already knew. I hid under the kitchen table. I remember I was chewing on my nails, and I was curled up in a ball, and I was like just chewing on my nails, like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like, you know, this can't be true. Is my cousin really dead? And I hear my father talking, but I can't really hear what he's saying. And I'm crying because, you know, I've had these weird psychic experiences before, but I never really, you know, understood them. I just thought it was crazy or just weird. And I was like, oh man, it's happening again. And I was just crying. And then when my father hung up the phone, he called out to me, and he confirmed that my cousin was dead. He didn't make it. He shot himself in the head, and he didn't make it. He died. And I just remember crying even harder. And I stood under the kitchen table. I was so scared. I was so nervous. I was so sad. I lost my favorite cousin. I was like, oh my God, why? Why did you kill yourself? I was saying it in my head. Why did you kill yourself? Why? What would cause you to do this? You know, he was the only person that I knew that embraced my spirituality and taught me how to use it. And then he died on me. He took his own life. So the night of my cousin's funeral, he came to me and, well, back it up a little bit. So the night of his funeral, I remember going to his funeral. I did not want to go to his funeral. I don't even think I've ever been to a funeral at this point in my life. Death had always scared me. Like, I was always like wicked scared. Like, I was like, I'm not going to no funeral. But you know, when I was young, I had no choice. If there was a passing in the family, my grandparents and my father was like, you're going. And actually, this might have been the second funeral. I think the first one I was forced to go to, but I didn't even go where the body was being viewed. I stayed in another room in the funeral parlor, just sitting there, just waiting, you know, for my father to leave. I was way too scared to go see a dead body at this point. I might have been like 11 at the time I saw, or at the time I went to my first funeral, but I was about 14 or 15 when I saw my first dead body, and it was my cousin. And I was afraid to go and see him too. I didn't know what to expect, to see somebody that was once alive and somebody that you once shared, you know, conversations with and stories with and, you know, your life with, and then you go and you see them lifeless. I remember when I walked through those doors, I remember dropping down. I didn't hit the floor. My dad's girlfriend caught me before I fell to the floor. It was kind of like, I don't know if I was about to faint. It was just so much to take in. And she was like, you know, rubbing my back, and she's telling me, it's okay, go ahead, go up to the casket and pay your respects. And I was just like, want to, but I did. And I just remember walking up to the casket and looking at him, and it was like an empty shell, lifeless. It wasn't even him. Your soul makes you who you are. And I didn't understand. People are like, oh, he looks so peaceful. He looks like he's sleeping. And it did not look peaceful, and it did not look like he was sleeping. It literally looked like an empty shell was laying there, and somebody just put way too much makeup on him. I remember I went home that night, and I was just so upset. I went straight to my room, went right to bed. And that night, my cousin, he came to me. He woke me up. He kept saying my name, Gabe, wake up. Gabe, Gabe, wake up. Gabe. And I heard this far away in my dream. Gabe, wake up. All of a sudden, I just kept hearing it until I woke up. I always went to sleep with my radio on. And as I was waking up, I could hear my radio going like, whoosh, 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 like that noise, that staticky white noise static, like it was in between channels or something. And, you know, I noticed that. And then all of a sudden I heard Gabe in my radio, and I was just like, what? And I remember just like kind of like pulling down the blankets and, you know, just kind of like looking. And there was my cousin. All of a sudden, my cousin was standing there, and then all of a sudden he was like, he just like shrunk into this ball of green lights, and it just kind of just like went whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And it's kind of the noise that I heard too, was the whoosh, whoosh, with the with the static of the radio. And I remember hiding under the blankets like, oh my God, this is a bad dream. Oh my God, I'm like petrified at this point. I was so scared. And I remember my cousin saying, please don't be scared. It's me, Danny. Don't be scared. I'm not here to hurt you. And all of a sudden, this feeling came over me, like all of that fear that I had completely gone. It's like somebody just went inside my body and just took the fear out and threw it away. I was no longer scared. My breath came back. I was normal. I was like, I felt good, you know, and I was just looking at this ball of light next to my bed, just going like this. And it was still there. And he was talking, but the voice wasn't coming from the ball of light that was next to me. It was coming from the radio. And he was telling me, you know, don't be scared. It's me. Please don't be mad at me. I took my life. He was like kind of explaining to me what happened. And then he says, you know, I'm not in hell. There's no hell. But he did speak about God, and he did speak about angels. And he said, I need you to write this poem because I was told that if I write this poem, I'll be able to go up and get my wings. And he says, but this is a test. You know, they sent me back here to see if there was somebody else that could believe in me as much as they believed in him. But if he couldn't get somebody that was human to believe in him, then he wasn't going to be able to go up. He didn't say heaven. He didn't say anything like that. He just said go up. He was a poem writer when he was alive. He used to write poems all the time. So, you know, he says that I need you to write this down. So I did, but I listened to what he said first. And he said the poem was called Under the Umbrella Tree. And this was in November of 1991 or 91, I think it was. 91 or 92. Actually, I said I was like 14. I think I was really like 13 at the time. So the poem went like this. I shall now go to the umbrella tree to watch the sun die, the stars fly, and the moon fade away. And then he says, I will know that he got his wings and I would not ever see him again after this night. But he will give me a sign to let me know that he got his wings. So then all of a sudden that ball of light just like kind of went inside itself and just disappeared in thin air. I knew I wasn't dreaming. I laid in the bed for a few minutes and I was just like looking around the room and it felt weird. Like I was like, what did I just experience? This was weird, you know? And I got up immediately after that, after I gathered myself together and went into my book bag, grabbed out a notepad and a pen, and I just started writing down the poem that he told me to write. To this day, I still have the poem. It's like really sloppy because I was just like, this energy surge came over me. I was just like writing really fast. And an umbrella tree, you guys, is a weeping willow, which is my favorite tree. I love weeping willows. I used to say all the time, when I die, I want to be buried under a weeping willow. And I used to tell him this all the time. And for so many years, I did not understand what his poem meant. I think I understand it now. Now that I'm on this spiritual path, it has an understanding for me, a personal understanding. It's just so strange to have such a vivid experience. Anyways, that morning, because he woke me up, this all happened at about, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around that time, and I used to get up for school about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I ended up staying awake. After I wrote that poem, I started to get ready for school. Well, as I was going to school, I used to take the bus to school. I was in middle school at this time. So as I was taking the bus to school, there was this church at the end of my street. And all of a sudden, these bells started to ring. And I dropped like a ton of bricks to my knees. And I just started bawling my eyes out. This feeling came over, like this heat came over my body. Everything was tingly from head to toe. And I just started bawling my eyes out, and I was just shaking back and forth or rocking back and forth, and I just couldn't believe it. That was the sign, you guys. But the thing is, this church, I've been, walking down the street at the same time every single day for the last, I don't even know, 12, 13 years, however old I was at this point. And the bells never rang in the morning. Never rang. Okay? But this morning, these bells rang. And the sound of the bells was a different sound than they normally dinged when it was like 8 o'clock or when it was 12 o'clock. Usually that's when they would ring. It's like 8 o'clock or 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. That's how I knew I was late coming home. If I didn't make it home at 6 o'clock, or, and I was at my friend's house, which was across the street from the church. If I heard those bells at 6 o'clock and I wasn't home already, I was in trouble. It wasn't always the street lights for me. It was when the church bell rings at 6 o'clock, you need to be home. So, yeah, these bells never rang at this time getting on the bus. And my friends, they just ran over to me and they're like, oh my God, are you okay? And I remember my friend lifting up my pant leg, looking at my knees, asking if I was okay. I didn't even have a scratch, not even a red mark, nothing. No dings, no marks, no blood, no bruising, nothing. That was the sign. And all I could just say was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And my friends, they all thought I was like, what's going on? Are you okay? And, I had some really awesome friends. They comforted me. And Julie and Danielle, the girls, they were twins that I grew up with. And after I calmed down, I explained it to them. And it wasn't weird to explain this to them because these girls I met, we were like sisters and we shared everything with each other. So, they knew all of the strange things that went on in my life, the strange things that I seen, and I would explain it to them. And they knew that I could, when I said something, like for instance, like I could read minds back then. I don't know why I can't do it now. Maybe because I suppressed my gift for so long. But there was a time when I could tell somebody something and I just knew something personal about their life. And it was like a game for them. They would have people come around and be like, try to guess this about so-and-so. And then I would say something to so-and-so about their life. And they'd be like, oh my God, how'd you know that? Something personal. So these girls, they were a big part of my life at one point, and they made me feel very welcoming and comforted and not so weird, but they were also like my only friends. So it was Julie and Danielle, and then it was my cousin, that really embraced my spirituality and my weirdness. And I don't know. It was just weird, you guys. The experience, everything was just so strange. And that's when I knew that when you take your life, you don't go to hell. And you won't be tortured by the devil or demons like they teach you when you're growing up. So like I mentioned, I still have the original poem that I wrote to this day. Sometimes I feel that, he is the male energy orb that is still with me. I don't think he reincarnated. I don't feel that he reincarnated. Life was too painful for him. So death was his only way out. And I have this very strong feeling that he will not be reincarnating. He does not want to come back into the form of a human or anything. He doesn't want anything to do with coming back as something other than where he is now. And I honestly believe that when he said he needed somebody to write this poem so he can go up, I believe it was so he didn't stay in the lower astral realms, the lower plane of the astral realms. And by getting my attention and believing in him, he was able to rise up and get his wings. I believe that he's a guide or an angel of some kind, and I don't believe that he will be reincarnating anytime in my lifetime, anytime soon. And there's a bunch of videos on my channel, in my playlist. I have orbs from 2015, 2016. They're the orb videos in my playlist on my YouTube channel. And there's this blue orb that is always around me no matter what I'm doing when I'm recording. And I believe that that blue orb is Danny. Now, for me, there's no judgment for anybody that commits suicide, okay? I used to think that if you took your life, you would go to hell and you'd be, damned forever. But I don't think that way anymore. Now, from a spiritual perspective, there are no acts that are absolutely wrong or sinful, okay? The deepest act of self-betrayal can lead someone into a state of inner clarity that may help them forever. The darkest point may become the starting point for a new direction towards light. You see, spiritual evolution does not proceed in a linear fashion. It uses polarities of light and dark to create dynamic and change. So in saying this, I would really like to take away the traditional judgment about suicide, that it is the biggest sin that you can ever commit. God or spirit does not feel that way. God has the greatest compassion for people who take their lives in despair. There is always help available for them on the other side. They are never abandoned. They're not being tortured. They're not alone. So let me say this, you guys. If you have lost a loved one to suicide, just know this. There was literally nothing that you could have done to save them. Even though you think that you could have, trust me, there's nothing that you can do to save somebody that has already made up their mind because they're sad, depressed, and unhappy. They might, you could probably make them laugh while you're with them, but there is a depression that lingers deep down, and it sits right there in your root chakra, that no matter how many laughs or smiles that you're able to give that person, there's a feeling of being unhappy and trapped that you could never fix for them. So just know that you are not to blame. It's not your fault. You're not at fault. And you did not fail them. They're okay. They're healing. They're in peace. They're in spirit. They're free. However, you guys, if you do know someone who needs help, please reach out to them. Let them know that, that they're not alone here in this realm, the earth realm. Show them unconditional love, because we all incarnate here to have an experience to live. Okay? If someone is watching this video and feels suicidal and needs help, please reach out to me. I will help you. I'm here to talk with you. If you are watching this video and you're not comfortable with reaching out to me and you want to be anonymous, there is a national suicide prevention lifeline, and I want you to reach out and call this number, 1-800-273-8255. If you feel that you need to talk to somebody, please reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And I will put that information down below. They are available 24 hours every single day. Or just reach out to me or one of my followers, one of my subscribers. If you need help, write in the comments area, I need help. And I will reach out to you, and my subscribers will also reach out to you. We are light workers. We are light warriors. We are here to assist you. I'm sending all of you guys, everybody that's watching this right now, everybody, unconditional love and healing light. Many blessings to you guys.